Okay guys, welcome back to another Kerbal Space Program tutorial. In this episode I am not using the normal Kerbal Space Program, I'm actually in the demo, and which is a bit odd, but what my tutorial is going to be is it's going to be a tutorial on how to get to the moon only using parts that are available in the demo. Okay, so it's going to be very simple. This is just going to be the transfer stage, I guess, that I'm building right now. Little bit of RCS fuel, and again, for some reason, I don't know why, I always forget to put any RCS thrusters on my spaceships, even when I put loads of RCS fuel, and it's really annoying, but oh well. Okay, so this is going to be our main launch stage. Now, it's quite annoying that you're very limited on the number of engines. There's only actually 3 engines. There's those little LV909 engines, the tiny ones that are pretty much just for, the only thing I really use those for is the lander, but at the moment I'm having to use those for the transfer stage as well, because because they're the most efficient. Okay, so I'll just put some advanced SES module in there, and these are what I'm going to have to be using to lift this whole thing, and if I just left it as that would not get off the launch pad, so it's just going to have to, I'm going to have to add more fuel tanks onto the edge with a few more thrusters, and for some reason that doesn't want to place. Oh well, I'm sure it'll place eventually. But basically, all these are going to do is they're going to get us up to speed, and just off the launch pad really. So we're up into a little bit of higher atmosphere, and we're already going at decent speed, so that those 3 engines in the middle can actually keep us going. Okay, so we're just going to be feeding some fuel lines into the main central part. This is going to be an incredibly simple rocket because, well, we are very limited on the amount of parts. But yeah, let's see. We are just adding some struts to make it work better, and calling it MUN. Very imaginative indeed. And now we are just adding a few more struts so that this incredibly long rocket doesn't just fall apart. Gonna save and launch it. There it is on the launch pad. Throttle up, and up we go. So we are going kind of fast, not that fast, about 200 meters per second. I think we just got up to. No, we're just getting up to 100 and something. So just turning over a little bit. It is only 5 kilometers, but we're in a very big ship, so we want to do the gravity turn in spaces, if you know what I mean, distribute it, otherwise we'll end up falling over. So these seem to be running out pretty quickly. Now the problem with having engines that are this weak is that you have to spend a lot of time still inside the atmosphere, which means you're very fuel inefficient. So that's our trajectory at the moment. Not looking very good. We've still got a very low apoapsis, but oh well. Okay, so there, back to the rocket. We're throttling down a little bit because we don't need all that speed, and we want to do this as efficiently as possible. Okay, so just rolling over a bit more now, and cut those engines, they've run out of fuel. So we're onto our transfer stage before we're even close to an orbit, which is never good, especially when you're using very little amount of fuel for your transfer stage. But oh well. Shouldn't need too much fuel to land, as we've got such a tiny lander. Incredibly simple. So this is now just expanding our orbit slightly using those very weak, those 3 little engines, and we're already nearly down to half our fuel, which is not very good, but that shouldn't matter. It'll all be working soon. Okay, so now to be most efficient, I'm not going to bother with a maneuver and trying to get the right place in my orbit to burn, because when you're trying to expand your orbit, the most efficient place to do that is at your periapsis. So I'm just going to burn at my periapsis and then speed up time until I get an encounter, pretty much. But as it turns out, I get one straight off, just like that, which is very good. So that's where I'll be going. And I've got a tiny amount of fuel left in the transfer stage as we get our encounter, which is excellent. I don't even have to use any to get onto a collision course with it, as we've already got one. Okay, so now we're going to spin ourselves around to our retrograde marker and begin our landing. We are still at about 60 kilometers, is that? Can't really tell. I'm watching this on a very small screen. But well. Okay, so they've run out now. And we're onto this tiny engine in our lander. Get the landing legs out. This is probably the simplest lander I've ever built. I mean, it is literally just the bare minimum. Well, you don't need the SAS, I suppose. It could be a lot simpler. Now, after I landed this, I actually realised that if I'd added a parachute and a decoupler, this had enough fuel to return to Kerbin. But unfortunately I hadn't, and by that time I really couldn't bother to do this thing all over again. So yeah, this is just coming down now. Sorry, that's my dog. We're about 5 kilometers above the surface, according to the altimeter there, which isn't very accurate, but you can always use the one inside the cockpit, which is perfect. So now we're going straight down at about 20 meters per second, which is fine when we're still at this altitude, which is probably a bit slow actually. Probably wasted a bit of our fuel. Okay, coming down, our altitude is shown up on the internal altimeter in the cockpit, and we're slowing down to landing speed just about now. Let's see. Well, is that 10 meters per second? Yeah, it is 10 meters per second there. Oh, almost going up. That's not what we want. Well, you can see our altimeter still showing that we're above 2,000 meters, but that's, as you can see, our shadow. That's definitely not right. No, yeah, that's just because we're on a mountain, which will be above sea level. Okay, so we're just coming down for our landing now, and there we go, touchdown. And that is a all demo parts, no other parts, moon lander. See you next time. Bye.